Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, continuing exploring my pen collection, we're going to look at 5 blue-inspired pens. What I've tried to do is get a nice range of price points. Also, I've tried to pick pens I haven't used for quite some time, and also inks that I haven't used for quite some time, so we get to explore some pens that you don't often see on the channel. So join me now, down on the table, and let's take a look at these pens. Welcome down to the table and my exploration of some of my blue pens. Today's notepad, this is an A4 notepad, it's rhodia paper. Nice paper though, isn't it? We start with the Jinhao 100. This is the deep sea blue version. Beautiful blue swirly colours here. Very nice. I like the Jinhao 100, it's a fairly inexpensive pen. I've got a number of different ones. I say this is the blue version. This has got the Jinhao nib that it came with. Number 6 nib. Easy to swap, so a couple of my other Jinhao 100s, I've actually swapped the nibs and I've put different nibs on there. Very easy to do. And this pen, I've got it nice and tight. There we go. This is one of my problems. I tend to over tighten these. I really need to stop doing that. Here we go. That's there. So that's a cartridge converter. Let's pop this back on. And hopefully not as tight this time. Nice section, nice length, nice feel in the hand. So this is a Jinhao 100 Centennial. This has got a medium nib. As I say, I find these really nice nibs. Price wise, 22 Aussie dollars. Loads of different colours available. I really do enjoy these pens. The ink is by Diamine and it's Thunderbolt. Nice blue ink as well. What I've tried to do, as well as using pens that I don't often use, I'm using inks that I haven't used for quite a while as well, just to really have a play around with both of them. Let's do our grid, and this is one of the things that I've nicked from what Wasky Squirrel does. I like the idea of it, so I think it's a good way to demonstrate what's going on. And the diagonals. Drying times. So there's immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Still smudging a bit, let's go for 1 minute. After a minute there, that's nice and dry. Quite a nice colour ink, this Thunderbolt, and I think it really matches well with this pen. So that's the Jinhao 100. Just move the paper up ever so slightly. We can lose the title now. Let's keep it so we've actually got that. There we are in the screen. Pen number 2. This is by HongDian. This is called The Light of Hope. It's part of their Black Forest series of pens. The thing that drew me to this pen, it's the name, The Light of Hope. What an awesome name. Certainly over the past few years, we've all needed that light of hope, haven't we? And this, I think it's just so nice. I would say it's blue. It is a bit thin. That's one of the downsides. I do find this is a bit thin for me. Look at this. The attention to detail. The nib. Blue. Matches the rest of the pen. Cartridge converter. There we go. Metal pen. Fairly light feeling pen as well. So we've got here a HongDian. I'll show you better when we do the writing sample. Very loud writer this. The Light of Hope. We've got on here a fine nib. Price for this pen, 29 Aussie dollars. I have checked the prices of all the pens in the last week, and they're the prices I'm quoting. The ink is just Pilot Blue. We'll do our Wasky Squirrel grid. Ups and downs. side to sides. Drying times, immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, that's dry at 30 seconds, no need to do a 1 minute test. Again, the ink, I think again quite a nice match. The Pilot Blue, it came with my Pilot Custom 823 when I bought that. Not an ink I use very often, but yes, not too bad. So that's the HongDian, the Light of Hope. We're going to take a bit of a price jump now, and we're going to go to the Nahvalur Schuylkill. This is in Chromis Teal. I've got a couple of Schuylkills. I normally use the Porpita Navy a lot, so I thought, go on Gary, let's fetch out the Chromis Teal for a change. Got like browns, greys, got some nice bright blues. This is where I'm saying it's the blue colour is coming from. More of a blue than a teal to me though. Piston filling pen does have a nice ink window so you can see what your ink levels are. The nib, it's a medium nib made in-house by Nahvalur. So we've got here a Nahvalur Schuylkill. Compared to the previous two pens, this does feel very glassy. It's got a medium nib, and the price for this pen was 96 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Herbin, or Herbin, and it's Diable Menthe, or Menthe. Nice, bright, like pale turquoisey type ink, I would say. Let's do our grid. This nib flows extremely well. Feels very lubricated, feels very wet. Drying times, so we got immediate. I'll try and remember to use a clean finger on this with it being a paler ink. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. One minute. After a minute there, we're dry. Quite like this ink. It's an ink, I don't know why I don't use it often enough. It's a beautiful bright, maybe it's an aqua type colour, really bright, and I think it does match well with the colours in this pen. So that's the Nahvalur Schuylkill. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Move the page up. We're going to take a bit of a jump in price again. So we've gone from the first two pens. What I've tried to do is have a couple of pens in what I would call the cheaper end or the less expensive end. I've got this one which sits in the middle. Then the next two pens, they are more in the, well, let's not mince words. They're more in the expensive range, you know. And we start with the Visconti Breeze. When I bought it, this was the cheapest Visconti I could get. When I was looking at prices for these, I actually can't find anywhere which sells these now. So whether they've stopped being made by Visconti or maybe retailers that didn't sell enough so they've stopped stocking them, I don't know. But really struggled to find a price for this. I did find one eventually, but I had to go and look through quite a number of different online retailers. This is the blueberry colour. It's a cartridge converter. And it's a steel nibbed Visconti. So there we are. Fairly small looking nib. Writes really well. Don't let the size of the nib put you off. So this is a Visconti breeze. Again, feels fairly glassy. It's a broad nib. The price was 192 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine. Hopefully I get this right because I'm forever getting it wrong. Early Dusk. I keep wanting to put Early Dawn, but it's not, it's Early Dusk. Let's do our grid. And then going across. I mean, I will be honest with you, when I look at these, I think the line width is similar between this and the Schuylkill. We'll get a better idea when we write the sentences at the end. Drying times, so immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Helps if I avoid catching the paper, doesn't it? About 30 seconds, that's nice and dry. Getting quite a nice combo. I'm seeing some shading coming through, little bits of shading as well. So that's the Visconti breeze. The final pen. We're going to stay in Italy. Visconti, that's an Italian brand. Different brand though. This is the Tibaldi Bononia, and this is in the Bora colour. It's a beautiful spaghetti type material. Loads of different shades of blue in here. Again, a pen I don't use often enough. The biggest reason for that, we're going to see now. The threads feel very catchy, so it feels like, I don't know if you can see there, it's very jerky because the threads feel like they're catching. Same with when I'm taking the body off, it feels very, very stiff. Once you get near the end, it loosens up, but it feels like you're fighting. So now it feels like I'm fighting, as if the threads are just slightly misaligned, which is a shame. So as you saw there, that's a cartridge converter in there. Got a Tibaldi nib on here. Apologies for the dog. She's snoring away over on the couch, keeping me company. So we've got here a Tibaldi Bononia. When it writes beautifully. It's just that catching of the threads which really puts me off it. Price wise is 268 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine. This is one I have to check that I spell it right. It's Sargasso. I don't know why my brain keeps telling me it should be Sargasso, but it's not, it's Sargasso. And then we'll do our grid. Going across. And then there we go. Drying times. So immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds, that's nice and dry. So that's a Tibaldi Bononia again. I think that's a nice ink match. Might be actually nice with that Early Dusk as well. I may try that next. So that's the 5 pens. I'm going to move the page up. What I'm going to do now is move the mic down to the table, and then with each pen I'm going to write a sentence so you can hear the pen writing. We'll do them in the same order, so we'll start with the Jinhao 100 Centennial. Enjoyable, not too loud, nice feedback though to it. The HongDian Light of Hope. Hopefully you could hear the difference. That was like double the volume. Again, we've got a nice tactileness though, so it's actually quite enjoyable. The Chromis Teal Schuylkill. Certainly not as loud. As I say, it does feel, it's not quite like writing on glass, but it does feel, reminds me of using my Apple Pencil on my iPad. It's like writing like that, plastic on glass. Do see a lot wider line there. Remember, this is a medium nib. The Visconti Breeze. Now this is a broad nib, and we can see here the broad nib is putting down a line that looks narrower than the medium narwhal nib. So that was quite interesting. Do we get the same though with the Tibaldi Bononia? Let's try. I think we've got a bit more feedback there, a bit more tactileness to it. Certainly does sound a little bit louder, and it doesn't feel anywhere near as glassy as the previous two. The previous two were very smooth, as I say, very glassy. Here we've got a nice tactile feel to it. Let me just swap over and fetch back in all the pens for one final look. I've tried to arrange the pens so we get a bit of writing and a little bit of the pen on the paper. So we've got the Jinhao 100 Centennial, the HongDian, the Light of Hope, the Nahvalur Schuylkill, the Visconti Breeze, and the Tibaldi Bononia. Let me just move that Bononia up ever so slightly because we can hardly see it. They're all nice pens. They all write really well. They've all got their own little quirks, which is nice when you've got a pen like that. If I had to pick a favourite of these five, this one is actually one of the easiest decisions. It's the Jinhao 100. By far the nicest writer. Well, no, they're all nice writers, but when we're looking at the price, at the line we get in, at the performance we get, you cannot beat at 22 Aussie dollars the value and the performance for the bang for the buck for the Jinhao 100. So that would be my winning pens of the blue pens. So these are my thoughts on some of my lesser used blue pens. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What blue pens have you got? What do you think about my thoughts on these? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.